and you did raise. It's just something that I see. I mean, with the nits that never 3-bet, and then we see them 3-bet. It's just, and they never fold to a 4-bet. I'm just never really enthusiastic about getting it in against them. And they go ahead and shove. So, I mean, like, you've got all the information you have now to know you're behind. Okay? There's no way he shows up with ace-king here. He's got aces, kings, or queens. Nothing else. He never shows up with jacks, never shows up with tens. So, I mean, in that scenario, I brought up Poker Stove here. And you're just 70-30 dog. And I think that's about, whoops, what we're at here. You went ahead and called, but it's like $7 more. So 7 into 15, you're not getting the right odds here. I mean, yeah, I fold this. I really do. I might be wrong, and some people might criticize this, but I'm really pinning him down on this range. And other people might argue, well, he also has ace-king in his range, and I just don't think so. So when I see a 5-bet shove at a guy who 3-bets 2% of the time, I just know it's aces, kings, maybe queens. If you're lucky, it's queens, in my opinion. So I'm just getting away from this. So you went ahead and called, and he showed queens. So you're flipping, which is fair enough. And he won. So just to kind of reiterate, like, that was your best case scenario. It never got better than that for you. And you still lost. I mean, it was still a coin flip, so I guess you had to be real happy to see queens, because he's never doing this with anything you have crushed, right? He never is doing this with ace-queen. He's never doing this with ace-jack. You know, and the other kind of sketchy pocket pairs, like jacks or 10s or 9s even, I mean, you're still a flip. So, I don't know, my 2 cents on that. Moving on. Ace-jack makes the raise. Bunch of callers, and you hit chips. Backdoor flush draw, no time to slow play. And he donks into you! Yay! Chances are, and I'm guessing he's got the flush draw, like I mentioned before. He might have hit a jack, which would be awesome, because unless it's jack 5, you're way ahead. He's going to get in all his money, which he's got a full stack. Donk betting, checking that. It's way off the screen, you can't see. But he donk bets 22% of the time. So you can pretty well figure that he's got something he's liking. And you go ahead and call, which I don't like. I would have raised him. And so the 6 bricks off. And certainly that had to have been just air for everybody. And he's not going away. And I mean, you have to be raising here, which you do. Okay. So you had me worried there for a second. And I guess your strategy here was I'll call off 1 and then shove the turn. And I guess that's okay, but he goes ahead and calls. And he shows a weaker jack. And you're good, right? Yep. All right. Okay, ace-queen in early position, and I will give away a little bit of my strategy here. If I got ace-queen offsuit under the gun, I actually usually fold it. Especially if I see guys like this here who call off a lot, and I'm gonna have to play ace-queen out of position, or always face a 3-bet. Usually my minimum to deal with is like ace-jack suited, ace-queen suited, and higher. And sometimes I'll even fold ace-jack suited. A lot of it's table dependent. If I'm at a total nit table with a bunch of regs, then yeah, I'll open up a lot more. But under the gun +1, ace-queen is pretty standard to open up, so I have no problem with you doing that. 1 collar, 2 collars, and that's it. So you flop top. However, both these guys look like set minors, so be careful. I mean, chances are you flop the best hand and you can bet for value. I'm never checking this. I mean, if you were heads up, there's a case definitely to be checking this, but against 2, you really can't, and you do, which I don't like. So in this situation, when you're heads up, I might have liked that check, just because it's such a dry board, but in this situation, I really don't. And this guy goes ahead and bets, and you call. So again, seeing kind of this slow play syndrome out of you, which I don't like. You're at 10 no limit. People will pay you off. You don't have to worry about, ooh, I need to just squeeze every last dollar out of my hands. You're going to be fine. So the 4 comes off. You're check calling again, or check shoving with top pair, top kicker. Okay, and this guy's really passive, and he's shown a bit of aggression with position. So you might say, like, well, maybe he's just playing because I'm playing so passive, but you just don't know. I don't think we can put him on aces, kings, or queens, or even jacks, or anything like that. But he's never 3-bet, so maybe he just is one of those guys who never 3-bets. And you will see these weirdos, they'll just show up with kings here sometimes, and that's unfortunate, but whatever. But I think you might have run into a set with 8s or deuces, we'll see. And he calls. I mean, I'm just wondering, like, when you shove here, he's folding everything you have beat, and he's calling with everything that has you beat, right? I mean, what calls this bet that you have beat? Like king, queen. But a guy this passive isn't going to have king, queen and call you. He will actually fold king, queen, I think. His aggression factor is 1, meaning he has the nuts and he's betting, or he's got nothing and he's folding. So against these kind of passive guys, I don't know if this was the right play. I mean, this guy here who's like at 24, 12, 6 might have been a great play, but maybe not in this situation. So, oh wow, he shows aces. So he was one of those, he hits the ace on the river for the good measure. He was one of those guys who just never 3-bets. Pretty well disguised hand, but I mean, a lot of time this guy's going to lose money because he's going to get his aces drawn out on so often because he's allowing himself to play them against 2 or 3 opponents at a time. So unfortunate. We talked a little bit about the strategy here and slow playing. You could have gotten a lot more information betting earlier, but another one of those unfortunate hands. I think we got time for 2 more hands. Call. Guy limped in too early. You post, and that's fine. And you hit middle set, so that's good. Again, I probably would have let out here because, I mean, there are some connecting cards with 10 and a jack. And then certainly like any sort of jack hand calls you. There's a lot that would call you when you raise here to like 30, 40 cents. So I mean, I wouldn't necessarily donk if someone to raise pre-flop, but yeah, I would have just bet it. And so someone bets in for a pot, and you go ahead and check raise. Again, I think this kind of shows that, I mean, you're never bluffing here. I don't think anyone thinks you're bluffing unless they're drunk and they just are not paying attention. But they're probably putting you on something, a good jack, certainly, or better. He folds and he calls. King comes off, and you go ahead and bet it. He calls. He's going nowhere. Shove, shove, shove. That's good. He calls with ace jack. So that worked out well. I think you could have gotten them all in on the flop, actually, by leading out instead of the check raise. But I think he was slow playing you, so the irony of that is pretty funny. And we'll go ahead and make this the last hand. 44-25 raises early, and he flat behind. He never folds to a 3-bet, so I like this. And he flop top top, and he shoves into you. So his aggression factor's 3. I might just fold it. I mean, this is the nuts. I mean, it really is. He might have an overpair like kings or queens because, I mean, he was the one to raise pre-flop, so he's shown that that's in his range for sure. He might have 7s, he might have 8s, he might even have queens. You got top top, and although you're ahead of hands like, I don't know, jack 10 or something, or maybe ace king, I mean, you're flipping with ace king suited. Not even. He's way ahead of you there. Hold on, gotta think. I couldn't figure it out off the top of my head. So ace king suited on this board, you're only micro points ahead of. I mean, you are ahead, but not by much. So he shoves and you call. I really just don't like it. It just smells rotten. I don't know. Maybe he's a donkey and he was shoving a lot. I mean, maybe it was villain dependent, but I really don't think this is a good situation. He shows the set, and you're toast. All right, well, good job, and definitely see a lot of improved play here, so keep it up.